Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we'll be going over Final Fantasy VII Remake. First, I must confess that I'm not really attached to the original Final Fantasy VII.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
I know. I just didn't grow up with it like many others did. In fact, I only started playing the original earlier this year. So I won't have that nostalgic tie to this game, which is okay because we can kind of look at this game with a somewhat fresh set of eyes. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more reviews and gaming content in the future. Also ring that bell for notifications on new videos. So without further ado, let's review Final Fantasy VII Remake. The original Final Fantasy VII came out on the PlayStation in 1997. It received worldwide critical and commercial success. This game was a lot of people's first Final Fantasy, and it has been one of the best in the series to date. People were clamoring for a remake for the modern age. In 2005, there was a tech demo showing the game off on the PS3. This gave fans hope in an eventual remake. 15 years later. They didn't even reveal the remake till 2015, and development on the game was a bit rocky, but the past is the past. And now Final Fantasy VII Remake is out. So does it live up to the hype that has been generated for the last 5 years? To me, yeah it does, for the most part. Then again, I'm someone who has barely played the original, so does my opinion even matter? I'm not going to go into too much of the story for spoiler reasons. Your main protag this time around is anime boy Cloud Strife, an ex-soldier that gets hired into an eco-terrorist group called Avalanche. Their goal is to stop the big corporation known as Shinra that is stealing the planet's life called Mako. They use Mako for energy to power their supersized megalopolis called Midgar. This is where the game is set. Midgar is separated into different sectors and layers. The upper layers is where the high classes are, and the lower layer is where the poor class is. Cloud is accompanied throughout the adventure with a wide cast of characters. You got Tifa, the brawler, Barret the gunner, and Aerith the white mage. Each one has a wonderful, distinct personality, and they work well off of each other. I love all their dynamics with one another. Now there is one thing I need to mention. This is only the first part of a bigger story. Even the original game came in 3 discs. However, this is a full game with about 30 to 40 hours, so don't worry, you are definitely getting your money's worth. This game looks oh so gorgeous at times. Especially the lighting in particular areas looks so nice, especially when the light shines off of Cloud's sword. Towns are packed with a bunch of details and have people scattered throughout. Yeah, sometimes the people don't look great, but they're there nonetheless. At night, some of the towns are lit up with neon lights, and it really pops with color. The art style is realistic, yet not too realistic to accommodate for the cartoon-styled characters. It just wouldn't look the same if Cloud had normal hair, it just wouldn't. Cloud and the gang look great with each one respecting the original design. The environment looks gorgeous, but at the same time, they don't. Sometimes the textures are muddy. If you're like me and run back and forth in the towns to turn in quests and side quests, you see a lot of textures trying to load in, and it just doesn't look good for a sec. NPCs especially aren't that good looking, often having trouble lip syncing, especially for unimportant moments or whatever. However, when it comes to the cinematic scenes, ooh, everything looks great, and the characters' expressions are on point. The dialogue for the most part is solid, and the voices match up with the cast very well. Very great casting here. In the original, the combat goes something like this. Riveting stuff, I know. But in the remake, it goes a little something like this. So much more action-packed, and it just all feels so epic. The combat system is one of the best aspects in the game. It blends together action and RPG elements so great. In battles, you can do this thing where you slow down time to plan your next attack, which of course harken back to the original where the combat was strictly turn-based. Each character has a role in combat. Baird and Aerith can shoot enemies from afar, whereas Cloud and Tifa are up close and personal. The bosses in particular highlight these aspects because there could be some tough fights thrown at you. You can use their weaknesses on them to have them stagger for a devastating flurry of attacks. Each character has what is called an ATB bar, which basically means that you can use spells, items, or abilities whenever they fill up. There's also summons you can conjure up in certain fights. And oh my, this is so good. They act on their own for the most part, but you can have them perform special moves with the cost of your ATB bar. Every combat encounter is engaging, and every boss fight is incredibly dynamic with multiple different layers to the battle. Each one is like a puzzle that you just go into and you try to solve, and each one has different mechanics that makes them unique to one another. Aside from killing things, there are side quests you can undergo that will reward you with materia that you can attach to your weapons and armor for spells and boost in battle. Yeah, a lot of these side quests have you go out and killing things, but they are side quests, so they do nab you some good rewards here and there. In each town you come across, there are mini games you can play which can be a real treat if you are in the mood. You can play a game where you smash boxes, or you can beat the high scores in darts. Darts is probably one of my favorite. Final Fantasy VII Remake, for the most part, is a pretty linear game. Sure, you can go off the beaten path and do side quests, but you are still going through narrow streets, which barely branch out. I wouldn't say that it's a big negative. In the original, it was much more linear, plus this is a story-driven game, so you can see why it's not the most open. However, I would have liked to have some bigger open areas to explore, but I can see that being a feature in the sequel. Overall, this game is a fantastic game with some shortcomings. With every passionate, dramatic story mission, you have some tedious side quests that feels a lot like padding. But of course, those side quests snap you some goodies, so can't complain too much. I love this game. It's hard to believe that this remake actually exists. It's been so long for fans of the original, but I'm glad it's finally here. If you're a fan of the original, then you probably already have it. However, if you aren't a fan of the original, is it still worth playing? Honestly, yes. You should give it a shot unless you don't like anime style games with over-the-top characters and such. But even then, it's a great game with an incredible combat system and definitely a contender for the best game of 2020. If you have this game, let me know in the comments below what you think about it. If you don't but are interested, let me hear from you. What are your thoughts on this game? Thank you all for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.